This is my retire in Davao, Philippines for 900 per month post. This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, the YouTube channel for Vagabond Buddha. As you may know, I love to travel the world and investigate the feasibility of retiring cheap in beautiful places all over the world. My goal was to retire early and travel the world at age 55. I was prepared to make that happen when the real estate market crashed with the world economy in 2008. I knew if I didn't figure something out fast, my retirement would be delayed until my 70s. Luckily, my job allowed me to travel the world. As I traveled, I learned about international destinations where I could retire for half as much as it would cost at home in the USA. Since then, I have loved traveling so much, I've just kept moving forward, reporting on the best retire cheap destinations in the world. I'm the opposite of a tourist. Tourists travel for 1 or 2 weeks per year. I go home for 1 or 2 weeks per year. So instead of retiring completely, I decided to follow my passion. In 2016, I started Vagabond Buddha to share what I learned as I travel around the world. So even though I have the resources to retire already, I'm not sure I ever will. I'm having too much fun learning about the world and sharing it with you. Just click more information link below this video for all of my information about retire in Davao, Philippines for 900 per month and 50 other of the best retire cheap destinations worldwide. Okay, Davao, Philippines, cost of living. One of the biggest mistakes you can make living internationally is to try to recreate your old life in a new country. There's a link here to my top 10 mistakes international retirees make. If you try to recreate your old life in a new country, it could easily cost you twice as much to live internationally. Don't do that. Your goal is to eat great local food, live in great local accommodations, and live the local life. That is how you can retire internationally for much less than home. You could easily save more than 50% in many of our suggested international retirement destinations. If you're like me, each passing year that you live offshore, the easier and more enjoyable it will be to live like a local. After you make that adjustment, if you ever do make that adjustment, your living costs might actually go down over the first few years when you live internationally. Let me give you an example. A dish in a really great local restaurant here in Davao, like our favorite restaurant in Davao, is only 80 pesos. That's $1.60 per person. Yet if you eat in a high-end restaurant, which we'll show you also in Davao, you can easily spend $6 per person, not including drinks. The two restaurants I'm referencing are at a link here. Rents follow this same rule. Locals can easily find well-appointed one-bedroom apartments for $150 per month, plus utilities of around $100, including internet, about 2 to 5 kilometers outside the city center. That same apartment in the city center would be about $100 US more per month. Yet if you act like many expats and try to rent a brand spanking new place in a gated community with a guard, you could easily add another $100 US per month or more, depending on square footage and amenities. All of that on the webpage. The below numbers are for a temporary visitor, so the rents are a little higher than discussed in the previous paragraph. As such, some people may be able to save a little in rent and a little more by cooking at home. Nevertheless, there's a table here on the webpage. Come check it out. But for the prices here range for a backpacker hostel type person from around $300 per month to someone like me who likes to stay in a one-bedroom apartment would be more like $900 per month. There's also a free report here explaining how the table works. You can click that if you have any questions. The estimated cost of living for 1 month is for one person as a temporary visitor. It only includes rent, 2 meals per day, and local transportation. I usually have oatmeal for breakfast in my room, so I don't count that. For a full understanding of what it will cost you to live here, visit numbeo.com for Davao and add any items you spend money on. Okay, Davao livability factors. Next, I'll walk you through my livability factors, but first, just some general observations about Davao. In many areas of Davao, the sidewalks are broken and some have holes through to the dirt below the sidewalks. The streets also have some deferred maintenance. This is a condition that you will find to be the case, not only in many parts of Southeast Asia, but also in other retired cheap places around the world. This is no longer an issue for me, though it did bother me the first few years when I started living outside the US. But you need to pay attention when you're walking around town. Okay, now for my livability factors. Walkability, high. I rate Davao as highly walkable. My first choice would be to live in the Old Town area near the hotel where we stayed. There's a link provided. But anywhere within a few kilometers of there would be fine for me. Everything I need would be in walking distance. Plus, if I didn't feel like walking where it was raining, there are jeepneys running in all directions for 8 pesos around town, which is 16 cents in the downtown area. 𝐶𝐻 would prefer to stay a little further out and just take a jeepney into the city once or twice a week to get supplies. So it just depends on what you're most comfortable with. Internet, high. In Davao, the internet in our hotel wasn't so good. But we heard that if we got our own apartment with its own router, things would be fine. That fact was confirmed when we moved to the next city in the Philippines, where I'm sitting now. We had our own router and the Wi-Fi is great. The great Wi-Fi we have is called Globe at Home, in case you want to get it. You'll be fine if you are internet hogs like us. Also, there's another fast internet solution if you stay in a hotel like we did in Davao. Just go to one of the co-working spaces in town. They are listed below and they cost $5 a day and they include unlimited coffee and they have super fast internet. Okay, food, medium. There doesn't seem to be as many international food choices in Davao as you will find in other parts of Southeast Asia. Plus, there is a very meat-centric diet in the Philippines. Luckily, we were able to find an amazing vegan restaurant in Davao that turned out to be our favorite restaurant, listed as favorite restaurant in the link. Okay, weather, high. Average high for days range seasonally from a low of 87 Fahrenheit or 31 Celsius in December to a high of 91 Fahrenheit or 33 Celsius in April. Not much of a range. Average lows at nights range seasonally from 74 Fahrenheit, which is 23 Celsius in January, to a high of 76 Fahrenheit to 25, which is 25 Celsius in May. The rain doesn't vary that much between seasons. In June, it's 7.35 inches, which is 186 millimeters of rain falls spread over 18 days, whereas in March, there's 4 inches or 108 millimeters of rain that falls spread over 18 days. The other months, the average rain about 6 inches or 170 millimeters is spread over 15 days. All this is in writing, so you don't need to memorize it or take notes. Things to do, medium if you're a cultural lover, high if you're a nature lover. Many people speak English here and love the chance to communicate with foreigners. There are 2 islands just a short ferry ride from Davao for about $2 to $3 ferry ride each way. The islands have places you can pitch a tent for $3 to $8 for the night. They have snack bars and rudimentary restaurants, but locals seem to bring their own food and drink in coolers. The museums are a bit limited now, but they are building a new museum next door to People's Park. You'll find live music in the city and a safe nightlife to walk around and enjoy. Make sure to check out the night market while you're in Davao, links provided to taste the local food. There are several large malls in Davao where people go to see and be seen, enjoy a movie, or sample the food courts. We have it, and there's groceries in the basements of all of them also. We've attempted to give you the feel for the city in our various videos, like our nightlife video, our walking tour video, and our best speech video, and this video. Okay, expats. Medium. With English speakers everywhere, you may not have the same craving for expat attention as you would in other parts of Southeast Asia. Walking around the downtown area, we didn't see as many foreigners as we do in places like Bali or Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur. That can be a good thing because you're more of a novelty just being there. We average seeing 1 or 2 expats per day walking around. Also, you can go on these web pages and ask people where to buy unusual things that expats miss from home. There's 3 Facebook links here with expat members ranging for Davao City anywhere from 1,500 to 600 or to 300. This is a great place to ask advice, cost of living ranges, and the availability of products or supplies that are important to your life on the expat web pages. Okay, medical, medium. I have not been to the clinic or hospital in Davao myself, but the Southern Philippines Medical Center has a 4.2 rating with 91 reviews on Google. People can get fairly frustrated at hospitals, so that is a pretty decent rating in my opinion. But that's all I know about the hospitals in Davao. Okay, exploratory visa. Hi. For your exploratory visit to the Philippines, Americans and Malaysians can obtain a 30-day free visa stamp upon arrival at the international airport. It's likely true for your country also if you're a European or Canadian, but please do check before you come. We were able to get a 29-day extension for a total of 59 days in less than an hour at the immigration office in Davao, link provided. It cost 60 US to extend the additional 29 days. You need only your passport and the money. There's no longer a picture required for the extension application, which you can complete in about 5 minutes at the office. I'm told you can get additional extensions of up to additional 5 extensions with some proof of solvency. As stated in my top 10 mistakes international retirees make, link provided, I recommend you spend several months, at least 3 to 6 months, before considering obtaining a retirement visa in the Philippines. Okay, retirement visas for the Philippines. Hi. There's a visa program for people 35 to 49 of age, years of age. If you're healthy, active, and able to deposit $2,000 in an approved Filipino retirement account. This visa allows you to live in but not invest in the Philippines, as you can pay extra for and you can pay extra for dependents. You just need the money, a medical clearance, and a police clearance. You shouldn't be a criminal to move here. The most popular visa allows investment in the Philippines and requires a larger deposit. For those 35 to 49 years, with a $50,000 deposit, you can get a retirement visa that will allow you to make investments in the Philippines. For those over 50, the deposit's only $10,000, but you also need to show for both 35 to 49 or over 50, you need to show a monthly income of 800 or 1,000 for couples. You'll have the right to invest in the Philippines. Or if you're over 50, you can avoid proving income with a $50,000 deposit. Income requirements can be shown with Social Security Administration, stating your benefit amount or pensions and that sort of thing. Okay, real estate. Hi. Rents are cheap. This is not professional advice, but I would not buy real estate in the Philippines. If someone recommends that you buy in the Philippines, they probably have a conflict of interest with you. Just lease month to month. The rents are cheap, and you can just hand the keys back to the landlord when you're ready to leave. If you want to own real estate, buy in a more economically safe country and live off the rents in a cheap country like the Philippines. Some people will tell you clever ways to get around the limitations of buying property here, but I suggest you balance their advice against what they'll gain personally if you decide to buy. Okay, banking medium. This is not personal advice. Again, leave your money in your home country bank and take money out as needed at ATMs. When you are in a foreign country, it's much easier to get into a mess than get out of one. If you want to store money outside of your home country, don't put it in developing country banks. Put it somewhere safe like Switzerland. If you decide to put money in the banks here to get a visa, you'll probably be fine. Just understand that the risks are higher here than in more developed country banks. Okay, pollution. Hi, Davao is on the ocean, so the air seemed fairly good to us. I was surprised to learn that it was merely moderate, link provided. Maybe it's all the jeepneys which seem to be spewing smoke out the back. In general, it's better to not swim in rivers or lakes near cities in Southeast Asia, unless there's some government periodic testing you can verify. The further you get from the cities and industrial areas, the safer the water generally is. There was very little observable pollutants in the air in Davao while we were there. In the dry season, you'll experience some dust, especially on roads of Davao that are not paved. Like most of Southeast Asia, it's not unusual to see single-use bags strewn about the city or piles of garbage in open fields. Okay, Davao overall desirability score, high for nature lovers and medium for cultural explorers. There are some beautiful beaches to explore on the islands just off Davao and gorgeous volcanic mountains surrounded by jungles to explore all within a few hours of Davao. Plus, you are just a short flight from some of the most beautiful beaches, jungles, and mountains of the Philippines. The people are lovely here in Davao. If you're finding any value here, could you please like it or comment, share, or subscribe? Your simple act of kindness will move us up in the Google and YouTube search rankings. If you'd like to learn how I fired my boss and travel the world, click the more information link below and grab a free copy of my ebook, How to Fire Your Boss and Travel the World. Okay, Davao Facts and History. Here's some interesting facts and history. Davao City has the largest landmass of any city in the Philippines and has the second largest population to Manila. There were 1.6 million people living here in Davao City proper during the last census of 2015. Davao City is called the durian capital of the Philippines. Davao has the third largest metro population at 2.5 million compared to Cebu Metro with 2.8 million and Manila Metro with 12 million. Mount Apo, a dormant volcano, is the highest mountain in the Philippines at about 3,000 meters above sea level or 10,000 feet. The Spanish monitored the Davao Gulf region starting in around the 16th century. They never made claim to the area until 1844, when the Spanish crown renamed Davao City. The Sultan of Aguinaldo protested the Spanish and the Spanish didn't try to control the area until about 1948, when 70 Spanish people landed intent on colonization here. Spain's efforts were finally successful when warships with reinforcement showed up about 3 months later. Although the locals' resistance continued, the Spanish were eventually able to convert locals to Christianity and forced both Muslims and Christians into religious-based communities by 1898. A Filipino Revolution was short-lived about a year later because in 1900 the Americans showed up. Economic success quickly followed as large areas were developed for agricultural investments. The Davao population grew with immigrants from other parts of the Philippines and the world as the agricultural growth continued until about 1941 when the Japanese invaded. The Japanese were in charge until about 1945 when the war ended. The Battle of Davao was one of the longest and most destructive battles in the Philippines towards the end of World War II. The American bombing of the Japanese positions in Davao destroyed much of the infrastructure built before the start of World War II. After World War II, Davao returned to being an agricultural power of the Philippines. However, crime became rampant in Davao with murder in the streets until a vigilante group, 𝐂𝐴𝐿 drove criminals from the city in about 1985. Agriculture and fishing remain two of the dominant industries in Davao. Christianity is widespread as a result of Spanish colonization. There are also a number of smaller temples and mosques of other religious groups around the city. Davao Chinatown is the primary residence of many of the Chinese that live in the city. Several other cultures also can be found in the city, such as Japanese, Malaysians, Indonesians, Koreans, and Indians. The most famous dish of Davao is kinilaw, which is something like ceviche. The Philippine eagle is the national bird. It's the largest eagle in the world. The New York Times reported an alleged death squad that roamed Davao City and did summary executions of over 1,000 suspected criminals between 1998 and 2008. The Times report was denied by local officials after an investigation was completed in 2019. Please subscribe to Vagabond Buddha, our YouTube channel, to watch us move around the world. 65 countries so far. Right now we're completing an investigation of the best retire cheap places in the Philippines, so stay tuned. To find out about our Retire Cheap in Paradise members only benefits, watch the following video at the link below on our webpage. This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. Thank you for your interest in our Retire in Davao, Philippines for $900 a month. There's links to everything we discussed in this video. No need to take notes. Just click the more information link in the notes below this video to get links to everything on Google Maps. Thanks for watching our video. We've written Retire Cheap reports all over the world. Please stop by vagabondbuddha.com. Take a look at the reports we have and see if you would be interested in finding out how to live the international lifestyle for less than half of what you probably thought it would cost. This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, could you please like it, subscribe, or comment? Any of those would increase our rankings in the search engines, which would help our business greatly. Thanks so much in advance.